So, I'm going to be honest, this wasn't the news I was expecting to wake up to this morning. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker himself, and the news that he will be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling at the end of January. But before we dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below on this massive news, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them, because I think this is going to have major ramifications. The departure of Okada from New Japan Pro Wrestling, for anyone who's unfamiliar with New Japan, that would be like John Cena leaving WWE, it'd be like Roman Reigns leaving WWE. Okada is pretty much the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been incredibly successful, G1 Climax winner, Wrestle Kingdom main eventer, had incredible match after incredible match, and he has now departed the company. Now, I think this has sort of not come as a surprise or a shock, because when Okada filed to trademark his Rainmaker stuff, the name Rainmaker, that sort of gave an inkling that maybe he was looking to move, with the likes of Jay White and Will Ospreay and a load of other guys departing New Japan. It seemed like maybe he'd make that move, but the addition of Hiroshi Tanahashi as the president of New Japan made me feel like maybe Okada would stay. But no, he is indeed finishing up his time with New Japan at the end of January. January the 31st is when his contract will expire. And my God, what's going to happen from there? First of all, let's talk about the stuff that he's finishing up in New Japan. I think it's going to be a very heartfelt, a very emotional time in New Japan, as I believe pretty much the same time Will Ospreay wrestles his last match, Okada will be wrestling his last match for New Japan as well. And they have been two staples of that promotion for years and years and years, and I think they will give them a really fitting send-off. I haven't yet watched the Okada-Ospreay match from Battle in the Valley yet. I've seen the speech at the end that Okada gives. It's very emotional, and yeah, they're leaving two pillars of New Japan sort of left. We'll talk about New Japan at the end of this video, but what next for Okada? It's interesting. It's interesting because I think a lot of speculation regarding where Okada will go lent towards his family life. You know, his wife is, I believe, a very high-profile actress in Japan, and would he like to move to the States and do stuff with big United States promotions? Seemingly that's now on the table. Where will he go? What will be next for the Rainmaker? There's the sensible answer, and there's the answer that I prefer. I think the sensible answer as to where Okada will end up is in AEW. You know, they've taken the likes of Jay White and Will Ospreay and sort of moulded a lot of New Japan guys to that mainstream American audience. It seems like almost a given that I think Okada will probably go to AEW. But for me personally, I think the way Okada makes the biggest splash, makes the biggest money, and makes the biggest impact in the wrestling world is by signing with WWE. Now, of course, before I preface this is all what the man wants to do. Do whatever makes you happy, Kazuchika Okada. However, I feel like there's more. The thing with Okada going to AEW is that we've seen a lot of it. We've seen Okada versus Ospreay. We've seen Okada versus Jay White. We have, even though it was incredible, we have seen Kenny Omega versus Okada. You look at the landscape of WWE and how they are positioning everyone. I think that's a more exciting environment for Okada. Having matches and feuds with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, Gunther, CM Punk. There's a lot of stuff that could be done with Okada in WWE. Now, back in the day, I say back in the day, a few years ago, I would have been adamant for him not to go to WWE, because the way that Vince McMahon, when he was in charge, treated Japanese and just foreign talent in general was not very good. But I do like what they've done with Shinsuke Nakamura. I think he's been positioned really well. He's been in world title feuds. I think what they've done with Damage Control and Io Sky and Kairi Sane and Asuka has been really, really good as well. I think it's a more promising environment under that umbrella. And if he's treated as a big deal, you could have like another main event of WrestleMania there. Have like a Cody Rhodes debut and have Okada debut at Mania and just take someone on. I think that would just be perfect. Imagine the reaction at WrestleMania. Similar to us hearing wrestling has more than one royal family. You hear the money, the ching, and Okada comes out and wrestles, I don't know, Kevin Owens, just throwing a name out there. I'm really for the idea of Okada going to WWE, only because it feels fresh, it feels newer. I don't think what AEW needs right now is to sort of borrow just everyone. I like them having the partnership with New Japan, but just taking everyone and signing them isn't what's best for business, because it doesn't necessarily feel watered down, because I love what Jay White's doing at the moment. Bullet Club Gold are one of my favourite acts. Will Ospreay obviously is going to be fantastic, but it feels like you've just taken the main event scene from New Japan. WWE hasn't done that, and Okada could be a great crossover mainstream star, especially if he gets a good deal where, say, maybe he's not a part-timer but he wrestles more infrequently. That might suit him better. I think there's a lot of mileage in an Okada at WWE, and my dream pitch would be have him face Gunther at Mania. It seems like if we don't get Brock versus Gunther, have Gunther Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge and have Okada come out. There you have it. A fantastic debut. He'd probably have to beat Gunther, but I don't think it's bad in saying that Okada can beat Gunther, because it's Kazuchika Okada, and my God, what a precedent you set if on your debut match you beat this longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. That's a great way to set it up, and I think it could be really work wonders. I think Okada in WWE could genuinely be fantastic, because I also feel like probably Triple H is a fan. I don't know why, I just get that vibe that he is probably a fan of Okada and likes everything that he's done, likes the presentation. So I feel like he'd put a lot of effort into making Okada the best Okada can be under a WWE umbrella. And that is me, the big AEW stan. Okada should go to WWE. I'm laying that gauntlet down. So that answers that question from my perspective. The other question is what happens to New Japan? New Japan have faced not necessarily an exodus, I don't want to call it an exodus of talent, but a lot of their top stars have parted ways. Like I've said, Jay White, Will Ospreay, and now Okada. And seemingly some of the Bullet Club, War Dogs people haven't necessarily signed contracts or re-signed contracts. I think you look at New Japan as it is right now, they have the talent there to push people to be main event stars. You look at like up-and-comers like Callum Newman in United Empire. I think Jeff Cobb from United Empire has main event potential as well. You look at like Yota Tsuji and Shota Umino. There's a lot of people there that could fill that void, that top-of-the-card void. And a lot of younger guys. I think Shota Umino is definitely going to be a Wrestle Kingdom main eventer and a mainstay. There's so much talent there that while it does feel like it has been chipped away at by people leaving, it doesn't necessarily mean New Japan is done. It's a bit of a blow that, you know, your biggest, probably, I don't know if he is the biggest moneymaker for New Japan, but the biggest star of New Japan has now departed. But that's sort of, what can you do there? You know, he's been with New Japan since I think 2007, and he's done pretty much everything that can be done. He's obviously going to look for new ventures and new things to pursue. So I think you can. New Japan will be fine. I think New Japan will be fine. Unless they have, you know, they didn't have a good year when they had Evil as IWGP champion. But if they don't go that route and they follow the route that they're going with Naito facing John Moxley, which sounds really cool, some stuff with Sonada, that could be awesome as well. United Empire, the Bullet Club War Dogs are probably one of my favourite acts in New Japan and in wrestling in general. So please please, New Japan, throw money at them to sign them, keep them under that banner because they're great. Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin and everyone, they're great. And I think it's the freshest Bullet Club has felt. So I think New Japan will be fine. And that caps off this video. New Japan will be great. Okada to WWE, in my opinion. Thank you all ever so much for your support. Let me know your thoughts on where you think Okada should go down in the comments, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.